This is Judge Joe Brown, and we're listening to We All Be News. News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Good evening, boys and girls, scholars and laymen. I'm your host for the empowerment segment, Brother Ron, also known as R2, C2, H2 the Artivist, and this, the Artivist Thinks. Now, this is the TrumpGeist edition. Now, President-elect Trump is the official 45th president of these United States of America. So what does that mean? I don't know. It means hail to the chief, I guess. But here's the thing. I saw the speech he did. I thought it was very genius. You know, a lot of the commentators, well, this is not a really inauguration speech. It's more like a campaign speech. Blah, 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 blah. I like the unpredictable nature of Trump. Trump is good for these times. We are living in the TrumpGeist. Anything can happen. Like Wycliffe Carnival. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Okay? Anything can happen. So embrace that, because this is the year of the risk taker. And Donald Trump is the ultimate risk taker. And he will take you there like them staple singers. All right? But here what I want to address this to is black people. I really wish that, all this phenomenon that I've been noticing of late of black folks calling other black folks coons, especially those who meet with Donald Trump. I'm here to tell you, we all coons, okay? And I know people be in the comment section. I don't really care. I really care. A lot of y'all not putting yourselves out there anyway. Y'all hiding behind avatars, no faces. I got myself out there in the target. I'm in the target zone. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to critique a person in the arena. But here I got to say, now people, my thing is, I don't care if everybody understands or understands what I'm saying. I'm fishing, right? When you fish, you're not trying to catch all fishes. You're trying to catch a certain type of fish. They get it. Get it? Get it, got it, good. Okay. So this is important for me to say this because I've been impelled. I've been motivated to say this from a source for me. And I wish that when you call black people coons, that it could end racism, white supremacy. Name calling is not going to get it for me. Like, you know, when I see people get mad at folks for meeting with Trump, like on Steve Harvey or MLK III or Jim Brown or whoever, Kanye West, do you understand where we at right now? We are behind enemy lines. We are in a system of white supremacy, racism. You got to do business. As black folks, we are in a position in this system where we are forced to do business with white supremacists and racists. Once again, black people are in a position where we are forced to deal with these people. White folks don't have to deal with us because it's their system. They could choose to deal with us directly or indirectly, but they don't have to necessarily deal with us at all. They don't have to deal with us at all because they make the rules. They got their code. You know, black folks calling people coons is like, okay, what's the code though? Where's the code? It's like if you depend on your enemy for your job, for your food, for your education, for your existence, then who's the coon? If all of us depend on our enemy's system for our jobs, for our food, for our education, for our existence, then who's a real coon? Like you said, old saying, takes one to know one. You know, like I was saying with Jerry Rice, you know, people complain about that commercial. I seen the commercial, it's online, about the biscuit and the chicken and, you know, and the napkin shirt. And black folks love chicken. Well, I can't speak for all black people, not just black people. People love chicken, period. There's so many chicken places out here, like gas stations and stuff. So many of them, people love chicken. They said there's more chicken in the world than people, but I don't know. It surprises them to me because so many people love to eat chicken. But black folks got this thing of trying to prove something to white people. Now, for me, I love chicken. I love watermelon. I love biscuits, all right? I don't have no problem in public eating chicken in front of white people or eating watermelon and biscuits in front of white people. I don't give a damn about what a white person think about me eating chicken and watermelon and biscuits. I don't need to prove nothing to white people. I don't need to prove nothing to self-hating black folks. I'm just going to be me. You don't have to deal with me. Deal with yourself. Live with yourself. People trying to impress and trying to prove things to other folks. The person you got to be longest with is yourself. Just me, myself, and I. Long as I love myself, comfortable being myself, I don't have nothing to prove to you all. Because why? It's like Neely Fuller said, the only people trying to show off and prove stuff to other people are folks that don't got nothing. Some of the wealthiest white people in the world are like bums. They look like bums. I mean, they make tailor-made suits look like shit, cheap shit. But they got money. They not trying to prove they got it. They know they got it, right? So why they gonna prove something to a cat? I mean, there's a lot of cats that's shining and got the gold, all gold, everything like Mansa Musa, but don't got the Mansa Musa gold, okay? Shining, got nice gators, got nice cars, but there's one paycheck away from being on the streets. I don't know Jerry Rice's money situation. Majority of the athletes that we love and we celebrate, majority of them end up broke after 5 years. 5 years after retirement. I don't know Jerry Rice's money situation. People clowning Jerry Rice. I remember when people clown Hammer, Ice-T, Ice Cube, LL Cool J. They clown Hammer for doing Pepsi commercials and KFC chicken, popcorn chicken commercials. And what them Negroes doing now? They still not. I want to talk a little bit more and give an example about the need of being validated for white folks, how they can be detrimental to black progress and black power and black love. Look at the story of the Negro Leagues. At one point, the Negro Leagues was created first and foremost because white folks didn't want black folks to play in their so-called major leagues. But towards the end, the Negro Leagues were making way more money than the major leagues because of the style of play they were producing. You had black and white fans coming to Negro League games. Black and white fans coming to Negro League games more so than major league games. So the reason why they brought Jackie Robinson over is not because it was a moral thing. It was a money thing. They wanted to get that black dollar. Okay? For example, Jackie Robinson came from the Kansas City Monarchs. That was the only team in the Negro Leagues that was owned by a white person outright named A.L.L. Wilkinson. Mr. Wilkinson, he was the one that helped create the night game. He brought lights. He created the use of lights in baseball so you could play baseball at night. That's one of his claims to fame, along with Jackie Robinson playing on his, legendary Kansas City Monarchs. And J.L. Wilkinson was friends with Branch Rickey, who was the general manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers. So it's always an inside job. As soon as Jackie Robinson crossed over, we all know he wasn't the greatest or the best Negro League player, but he had the right persona and image, and he was a great symbol, and he had ability. But once he crossed over, they were able to deplete the talent from the Negro Leagues without compensation. So they were taking the best Negro League stars from the Negro Leagues and not compensating the owners in the Negro Leagues, because black folks don't got no rights. So, and eventually the Negro Leagues went away, and the Major League Baseball became Major League Baseball we know today, because they got the best black players. But it was all about that money move. It was never about morality. It was never about the white folks had to come to Jesus moment. They just wanted them cash them checks in large amounts. Big checks in large amounts. Okay, it's about the money. Money, 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 money. That's all about. With this white supremacist system, what they speak is military science and finance. The language of white supremacy, violence, military science, and finance. Okay? That's what they speak. That's their lingo. And one thing, like the best thing we could do, we should protect our interests. It's like white folks protect their interests. You know, we talk about Black Wall Street. We talk about Rosewood. We even talk about Wilmington 1898. Y'all can look that up. The problem is black folks believe in fairness in a system that's built on inequities and inequality. And when they see you making it, this system will bully you. White supremacists are bullies. So they will bully you. It's like when Rosewood or Tulsa, for example, Black Wall Street, when they was able to get in a position where you got this community, this black community in the Midwest was able to do business directly with major countries in Europe. And the white folks got a hold of that information and they wanted a part of it, but the black folks said, no, you can't be a part of this stuff. So when the white folks came with their lynch mob and their army, what militia or what military we have to protect our own interests? See, in white supremacy, you gotta be willing to fight and die for what you want and what is yours. You gotta be willing to fight and die for what you want and what is yours. This is not radical revolutionary thinking. This is common sense. You got black folks that join the U.S. military every day whose rights are not protected at home. You fight for their right to disrespect you. You fight for their right to disrespect your family, to harm your family. But yet, you think it's weird to fight for your right to exist and to have free will and self-determination, to protect your self-interest, to help create your generational wealth? You think it's something weird about that? You call other people coons, but yet you work in a job. You can't produce a car. You can't produce a job. You can't create wealth. You can't create businesses. And you got nerve to call another man a coon. And you know, all you trying to do is get ahead and get some money, just like you. You afraid to speak your mind because you may lose your job. You're not free. We're not free. If you're afraid to say what is true, what is on your mind, and what is right, and what is just, you're not a free person. You a slave like everybody else. There are people in physical prisons that are freer in mind and spirit than some of us out in these so-called streets. You got folks that have been in prison for years and decades. They are freer in spirit and in mind than we are out here. Y'all are afraid to lose trinkets where you can gain a whole kingdom or a universe. Y'all value trinkets over liberation. Let me say, we value trinkets over liberation. We value that pat on the head over self-determination. You know, they say you to stay in your place. There is no place for you, black man, black woman, in this system. If you want to be a full black man or a full black woman, there's no place for you in this. This system was not made for you. It was not made for your benefit. And yet you pay taxes in so many levels into a system that is not made for your benefit. We do that. So it's now a time, even though your so-called money is the faces of your oppressors, slave owners, you know what I'm saying, white supremacists, they all on our money. Yet you got black folks that die for money, 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 money in all types of ways every year. It's like when black folks walk around and they had their freedom papers on them. So if you lost some goddamn papers or kept them in your other coat, you was shit out of luck, right? So how can you be really free if you need freedom papers to prove that you're free? If you liberate, you need no paper, no vindication, no validation. You just a child of God. If you are truly a child of God, if you are truly one of the chosen, you need no validation or vindication from so-called mankind to exist, to be just you. Okay? You don't need it. So that was disturbing me. We can't, I mean, what black person is qualified in this system to call another black person coon when we all, you know, at master feet, at master's table, begging for a job, begging for this and that. We all depend on them for food and education and for existence and for everything, for protection. You know what I'm saying? People got this idea, it's funny about being independent. Nigga, nobody independent. You interdependent. Interdependent. Nobody's independent. Everybody that's excelling in this white supremacist system knows it's a team sport. Black folks are the only ones that don't. As much as we love fucking sports, we don't even understand that racism, white supremacy is a team sport. We don't understand it. We don't understand. Everybody who's getting something out of this system is not because they voting. It's because they sticking together. They got a code. They know their mother tongue. They got an identity they agree upon. They got certain things they agree upon. They work on those common mutual interests instead of worrying about the differences. They come together on that. Solidarity and unity would defeat this white supremacist every time. It would chin check this MFer every time. But we don't practice this among ourselves. We don't trust each other. Yeah, we trust the folks that poison our water, our food, and our minds, and our spirit. Wow, that makes a lot of fucking sense. Look, I guess so. When you sick in the head, you know, a lot of us are sick in the head. That's why Dr. King says it's going to take the creatively maladjusted to save humanity. How can you be adjusted to madness? How can any person be adjusted to madness? How can you accept the mistreatment of your ancestors as well as yourself as being normal? Something's wrong. Something is very wrong. So, yeah. I'm going to put my commentary out there because everybody else doing their thing. But nah, this coon stuff is just like getting really, it's very juvenile and sophomoric. Let you know that black folks are in a stage of arrested development. We are not allowed to be men and women. We're just black males and black females. We got woman parts, we got man parts, but we're not allowed to exercise our manhood. Because I hear people all the time, don't speak out, you know, because you be like Malcolm or Martin. And yet, you okay with that? You can only be violent and be bold when you playing football and basketball and baseball. That's the only time you can be an outspoken black person. But when it comes to your people suffering, you can't say nothing. A system. See, I don't have no problem with football players making the money they make, because look what they're doing to their bodies. Look what the price they pay. They got to have good health insurance later on, because they forgot they won the Super Bowl by the time they 40, some of them. So many damn concussions. And yet that's for your entertainment. That's for our entertainment. We like to see folks suffer. This is the nature of white supremacy. The foundation of their entertainment is black folks suffering. Think about it. All the entertainment. Lynching was entertainment. Same way as sports and all this other stuff is entertainment. Black folks breaking their bodies for their wealth and entertainment. That's what it is. So, I mean, like this coon stuff, you know, shaming a dude and all this stuff. I mean, whatever, man. Whatever. I just don't want to be a part of that. And I think it's better things we can do. All this posturing. We got to discipline ourselves. Keep our eyes on the prize. It's so important in the stage of the game. And this is how you're making the TrumpGeist. You understand that this is a team sport. Get with your tribe. Come up with the code. Come up with your own personal code of conduct, your own moral compass. You don't have to broadcast everything you're doing. There's people out here doing stuff. I meet people all the time doing phenomenal things. They're not broadcasting it. And that's a good reason. You know, Rosewood, Tulsa. But at the same time, we need to start getting the mindset. We got to be willing to die for what we want and die for what we value. Because like Dr. King said, if a man ain't willing to die for anything, he ain't fit to live. If a man ain't willing to die for anything, he is not fit to live. That's Dr. King said that. Mr. Nonviolent said that, okay? So, it's not only good to just exist and to just, you know, be, you got to be doing something. Yeah, these cats they criticize, I mean, they criticize MC Hammer. These cats like Ice Cube and the LL Cool J and Ice-T, they criticize him for being a sellout, going commercial, going pop, you know, because he was in KFC commercials, like I said before, and Pepsi commercials. But what they doing now? They all in movies and TV shows and selling products. But Hammer was a pioneer, and as a pioneer, he had to pay a cost. And it was just sad and unfortunate that we as black folks hate on other black folks when we just all mandingos. If not coons, we all on the plantation. We have not left this matrix known as white supremacy. We still stuck on the plantation. We can't even be free. When you liberate it, you can be able to speak your mind and not worry about losing your job. I know I get people all the time. I hit them on the streets. They see me on the streets. Brother Ron, I love that post or this commentary or that you did. And I said, wow, that's weird. They don't really like my stuff. I don't see all these likes and retweets and shares on Facebook and in social media. But the thing about it is they afraid because is it job friendly? And having a job is a violation. Because a job, no billionaire has a job. Donald Trump, for example, he only gonna get paid $1. $1 to be president. And people, black folks, it's like, why you don't get $1? That don't make no sense. You know why? Because power is more powerful than money. Once again, having power is more powerful than money. Power is about access. Power is about getting results, getting shit done. When you can get things done, you're a powerful person. Even if you live in a homeless life or a homeless or bohemian existence, if you got influence and you got access, you have power. And power is power. Power has a greater currency than money. Knowledge has a greater currency than money. The most powerful institutions I ran on knowledge and information. That's the currency. You understand? So why would people spend $1 billion or several $100 million to be president? Because it's about power. Every ex-president got the best health care in the world. They live so long. We got presidents right now, they in their 90s. Jimmy Carter and George H.W. Bush 41. They're in their 90s, y'all. Carter had inoperable brain cancer last year, allegedly. Now he's cured from brain cancer. Walking around, active, traveling, engaging, still teaching Sunday school down in Plains, Georgia, almost every Sunday. George Bush, 41, at one point was jumping out of airplanes on his birthday until his 80s. So what I'm saying is, Obama, they're going to be taken well care of. Even Nixon, when he was disgraced, got taken care of well after he was president. So what they tell you? What does that tell you? So we get mad at, Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice is not the enemy. I mean, I don't know his financial situation. He might have to do those chicken commercials because he broke. I don't know. Like I told you, most of these athletes after 5 years of retirement, they end up broke. For a lot of reasons, So, and also I just think, even with the Trump situation, I guess that will make Marcus Garvey a coon because he met with the Klan and did business with the Klan. They invested in his Black Star Line or Back to Africa movement. I guess that will make Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad coons for dealing with the Klan. I mean, the Nation of Islam brought real estate from the Klan. This is documented. I mean, the Nation of Islam also had the American Nazi Party founder George Lincoln Rockwell speak at their savior days. This is documented. There's evidence of that out there. This is not hidden knowledge or history. This is actual, factual, documented. Take a look. It's all online stuff, okay? This stuff is out there. So are these coons? It was Frederick Douglass a coon for meeting with the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln? Frederick Douglass see power concedes nothing without a demand. And a lot of times, black folks, we treat our politics like church. We too damn emotional. We want to feel good, all this stuff. And what we gotta understand, black folks, a lot of us trying to get in white folks' business. Stay the fuck out of white folks' business and get our own business, okay? A lot of this stuff that we concern ourselves over ain't our concern. Our own house is messed up. Let's get our own house in order. We too busy fighting white folks' wars instead of fight for the things that we need as black people. You fight these wars against your so-called enemies, and your so-called enemies can come over in your neighborhood and open up a store with a line of credit from the bank. They won't give you a line of credit and exploit you like Uncle Sam and like the government exploit you. Because once you sign with Uncle Sam, you just property. What people don't understand about the military, you're property. You have no rights when you join the military. They tell you when to eat, sleep, and shit. Sometimes getting a dishonorable discharge is worse than having a felony as a black person. You understand? Look at the history of the military and how it treats black people. We fought in every war. What we got to prove, white folk? What do we got to prove? You got white folks, Donald Trump folks didn't come over here till late. My folks been over here. Donald Trump already president. That granddaddy was a pimp, father was a Klansman, and he's president. You don't think that's crazy? You see how it works? It's a game. All these white folks that think they're white, they new whites. They new whites. They're not really white. No, we're gonna see who the real white folks are in the next year. Because the real white folks ain't gonna tolerate what Negroes been tolerating for a day, let alone for 4 years or 400 years. Real white folks ain't gonna tolerate the bullshit that a lot of us as black people tolerate. Black folks think that this is okay. We've been conditioned to think that this reality that we participate in and that we endorse and pay our tax dollars and blood sacrifice to is okay. No, it's not okay. Jerry Rice did not create this reality. Steve Harvey did not create this reality. Okay? This system does not benefit black folk whatsoever. Black folks, we calling people coons on white-owned media platforms. Yet when you can't even address the real enemy, the real root of the issue, once you do that, you get all afraid. No, it's easy to go off of Ray, but what about the people that pulling the strings? I got the world on a string. Okay, who are those people? The wizard behind the city of Emerald. The Wizard of Oz. Who is that? Go after those people. The hidden people. The shadow people. Like I tell people every time you look at a funeral of a head of state, particularly a president, the people standing next to the folks you know are the most powerful people in the room. The people that you do not know standing next to the Bill Clintons and the Obamas and the Bushes. Those are the most powerful people in the room. They the real power brokers. They the shadow government. They're not limited by terms. They don't need voting to get elected. Because real power don't get elected. It's selected. You know, people talking about, well, Dick Gregory said there ain't gonna be no election. He said it might not be. It might not be election, but I'll tell you this. I'm gonna tell y'all this. If you got a cabinet full of billionaires and ex-generals, what do you think gonna happen next year or this year in 6 months or 3 months? If you got a cabinet full of billionaires and ex-generals, what do you think is about to go down within a year time? And less than that. This system makes money off of war. This system makes money off of creating a crisis. Crisis creates opportunity. This is how this capitalistic sick system works. Majority of the people in this system are poor. You got 3 billion people in the world living off of just $1.50 a day. And we allegedly got over 7 billion people in the world. Majority of the people in the world are poor. And yet y'all say this is the best system in the world? This capitalistic sick system? You think it's okay they repeal Obamacare regardless of its problems and issues? Obamacare did allow people with pre-existing conditions to have access to health care. And now they're repealing it. See, they find all types of ways to kill people. They poison your water. They genetically engineer your food. And they blame you for getting sick. They poison your air and they blame you for asthma. Think about all that. Black folks blame themselves. The victim blames the victim. Never realize that the victim ain't the problem. Black folks did not create that situation in Chicago. That's by design. Black folks did not create that situation in Flint. That's by design. Majority of the people in the 9th Ward in New Orleans own their homes. Majority of the people in the 9th Ward in New Orleans own their home. Before Katrina, that's about a land grab. Flint is about a land grab. Look at the Dakota pipeline. Y'all begging the devils to have mercy. You get what you deserve. The devil don't know no mercy. All the devil could do is give you more hell. Tell the truth. Shame the devil. But the devil has no shame. It don't mind eating chicken and watermelon with no forks in front of white people. Yeah, Jerry Rice is the reason why y'all messed up black folk. I'm just tired of this coon stuff. This stuff is just ridiculous, counter-revolutionary. I can't take nobody seriously that call other black people coon. You know, I don't care what the work you have done. Now's the time to, let's get on code, right? People talking about the code. Get out your emotions. Keep the church rhetoric, keep all that emotional stuff on Sundays and Wednesdays at church. Wednesday's Bible study, Sunday service. Keep that at church. Because black folks always have the need or feel to be entertained. It's like Malcolm X was very gifted because he could take the He works to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he can make it plain but make it fun and engaging, because black folks love to be entertained. But Elijah Muhammad wasn't like that. He had the knowledge, but he wasn't as entertaining or as charismatic when it came to speaking like a brother Malcolm X was or Dr. King. But there's a thing, black folks want all this stuff, and it's like interesting because we are in a arrested development state as black people. This is why I go to Dick Gregory things and I engage young people. There are so many young people at Dick Gregory events. People make fun of Dick Gregory and all this stuff, but shit, there's a lot of young people that love Dick Gregory because of the internet. And I see so many young people at his events. Because you know why? Because there ain't no real elders a lot. There are very few real elders in the black community. You got a lot of old motherfuckers. You got a lot of old people. Don't make them elders though. There are, I'm talking about people with wisdom, with insight, with experience. They really have a genuine concern about the welfare of their people. There are very few elders, especially with the pedigree of a Baba Dick Gregory. So, people say, well, you lied about election. No, you say it might not be an election. And I tell you this one thing, get into that numerology thing. Get into those numbers, astrology. Y'all, the black church, some elements of the black church said, no, that's evil. Don't know. No, not knowing knowledge of self is a sin, because my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Not just lack of knowledge, but lack of knowledge of self. Get into the numerology game and astrology. Figure this shit out. Like I said before, there's truth in the lie. There's fact in the myth. Be able to discern what you're looking at, because everything you want to know, all the answers are staring back at you. But because we have not been taught how to critically think by our so-called miseducation systems, we're seeing everything, blurred lines, all this shit. We can't figure out what's fact and fiction. But everything is out there staring right back at us. You just got to be able to develop your intuition, because we've been told not to trust ourselves. So how can you do for self when you don't trust for self? You don't trust yourself. How can you do for self, be yourself, if you don't trust yourself? Very important things. Get in touch with yourself. Very important. And figure this thing out, because the stuff is out there. Also find your tribe. Once again, we need marathon runners, not sprinters. We need builders, not complainers. Find your tribe, black folk. I ain't saying you got to go through all this DNA. If there's black people out there that are like-minded, or y'all share some of the same common interests, that's your tribe. Build with those people. I'm not just talking about, going to DNA and all. I'm talking about work with black folks that want to work with you. That's simple. And come up with a plan and use this system. Find out how to really utilize the system. Use it to your advantage. Stop talking about how they put you at a disadvantage. Your blackness, being black, is a gift from the universe. Just because a man-made system say you a curse, the universe say you're a blessing. Who's more powerful, the universe or the man-made system? Who you rather believe? The universe say you a gift, you a chosen one, or the system, the man-made system, say you are a curse, a scourge, inferior? Think about that, y'all. Think about it. Okay. Yeah, like I said, look at historical example of black folks. We met with our enemies because politics made for strange bedfellows. For example, Whitney Young, the legendary leader of the National Urban League, one of the big six of the civil rights movement. He didn't have no problem meeting with Kennedy and Lyndon B. Johnson, but he was hesitant to meet with Richard Nixon. It's a great documentary produced by his niece called The Power Broker. And I suggest everybody look at his online. You get through Amazon, whatever. But he was hesitant to meet with Richard Nixon because he was Republican. But he decided to anyway because his organization needed the money. So he presented before Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon was impressed and gave Whitney Young $28 million for his Urban League. The most money he ever got out of any president. More money than Johnson or Kennedy ever gave his organization. So sometimes you got to do that. Like Jim Brown. Y'all calling Jim Brown cool. Y'all don't got Jim Brown's credentials. That man's a real general. In my opinion, I don't care how you feel about what he says about things. This man got the credentials. You can't question Jim Brown and not respect the man as a legend. Not only as a phenomenal football player, but as a community advocate, having gangbangers in his home. That's his home. Your home is your comfort zone. This is he had gangbangers come to his house to do gang truces. American stuff he does with people in prison. He's been doing that for decades. Then, the black economic thing he was doing back in the 60s. One of the first, well-known black folks to stand with Muhammad Ali when he was protesting being drafted. Him and other black athletes. But, very prominent, very outspoken, a very proud and confident black man. And y'all call him a coon? Y'all even know who Jim Brown is? There's a Spike Lee produced documentary of Jim Brown. There's the internet. Get started. Because a lot of us ain't doing nothing but typing stuff on keyboards and calling people out behind avatars. You're not on the streets. You don't have a rep. You're not consistent in terms of serving. Serving is how you pay for your rent here on earth. Being of use to people. And Jim Brown has the track record. Ain't no question about it. You might not agree with everything he says or does, but look at his work. His work speaks for itself. And people just call him a coon because he meet with Donald Trump. So all that good work he done over his life is discredited because he meets with Donald Trump. Interesting. This is fascinating. I just think it's so much stuff that's on my mind, and I guess I'm gonna cut it short a little bit. But I could pick it up where I left out. But I just want to get some food for thought because everybody's talking this stuff, and it's very important that we do develop a code. But more important, develop your own personal moral code. Don't let society dictate to you. Don't let society dictate to you what is moral or immoral. Society is amoral. It's up to the individual to have their own moral code or code of conduct. That's very important. You need to have standards for yourself. Don't look to anybody else to develop your standards. You must do for self, to be yourself. And you must expect certain things from yourself. So that's very important. And I can get so many examples. People calling people coon. I mean, when James Brown, he met with Richard Nixon. James Brown was a very good businessman. Sammy Davis Jr., he campaigned hard for the Kennedys, and he was disinvited from the White House because he was engaged or married to a white woman. And the Kennedys didn't want to have nothing to do with Sammy Davis Jr. being connected to them. And he was a Democrat. And Papa Kennedy was a well-known racist and white supremacist. Papa Joe Kennedy. So look all that up. So, what is this thing to be validated or needed by white people? I think you need to love thyself to do for self. We need to fall in love with yourself. Self-love. Healing. Black people. We need that. And I will have more on this topic. I'm gonna bring back probably bring back the radio show. People can call in and I'll have guests on. I'm trying to figure out how to do that because we definitely need an alternative black media. I see some of the stuff people doing right now, but I want to add to the choir, add my voice to the choir, and I would need y'all help. Feel free to subscribe, donate if you like the word you heard from Mr. Hurd, because we're gonna keep on doing this. We gotta go 100 on this, 100, make it 1,000, 10,000, a million. We got to be authentic and go hard right now because our people need to hear this information. Because knowledge is the currency of the universe. In the words of great Dick Gregory, information is power. Bad information is bad power. Good information is good power. But get that knowledge, and like my late great friend Judge Bailey used to tell me, amplify, amplify, amplify. In the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. In the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep producing and pushing.